Hi everyone. So today we're going to talk about animals and just kind of continuing off where um, you all left last week. Animals are categorized into many different groups, but the big overarching categories are invertebrates and vertebrates. Today we're just talking about general animal characteristics, and then we'll get further down into specifics, but we're just going to do like general covering right now. So, invertebrates are going to have no backbone, so no spine. It's not something that they have. If invertebrates can either have like no backbone at all, or they can have an exoskeleton. So what that is, it's a hard covering that's on the outside of the body. Remember, that's what exo means, and that helps with their support. This is very big with insects. They all have an exoskeleton. This basically protects their soft tissue. And if you think of like if you step on a cockroach, for example, and you hear that crunch, that is the exoskeleton being broken. So kind of gross, but pretty relevant. If you're trying to think of how you can remember it, think of it as like if you're riding a bike or a scooter or something of that nature and you wear like a helmet or knee pads, elbow pads. If you play soccer, you have like shin pads. That is your exoskeleton. It's going to protect your actual body from getting hurt. Vertebrates don't have exoskeleton. We do have backbones, and instead we have an endoskeleton. So similar to how exoskeleton protected soft tissue, the endoskeleton does the same thing, but it's internal. So it's going to protect your organs. It's going to help with support and structure. And then your muscles are actually attached to the endoskeleton. And when you move and stuff, it like pulls against it. So movement, the development and evolution of nerve and muscle tissues allow animals to move in ways that are more complex and faster than organisms in other kingdoms. Basically, what that means is movement is one of the key things that make animals animals. So, besides other factors, plants don't move. Or bacteria, they move a lot slower. They don't have like the type of ability that we do. So that's just another thing that really categorizes animals as animals. Reproduction. So we've talked about this before in other units. So in animals, it happens through fertilization. So a sperm from a male is going to join with an egg from a female, and that's going to create a zygote or a fertilized egg. There are two different types of fertilization. There's internal and external. So internal is by having sex, and then external, female will like lay eggs, males will release their sperm over the eggs, and that will create the fertilization for the zygote to form. There's also asexual reproduction. So single parent, again, they're going to make a genetic copy of themselves. An example is like budding. You learned about this super early on in the year. And then I actually included a link to an article that happened last year at a New England zoo. Anaconda gave birth to a genetic copy of herself, so she went through asexual reproduction. And it was actually pretty cool. If you've seen Jurassic Park, big thing in that movie too. So early development, the zygote, the fertilized egg, is going to go through mitosis and it's going to form new cells. So remember prophase, metaphase, anaphase, telophase, all that good stuff. The cell's going to divide, and this is going to form a blastula, which is basically just a mass of cells. This is going to continue to divide, and it's going to create a gastrula. So I have a photo here that's going to explain it a little bit more. So in the first photo, you see the sperm and the egg. They're together. They create the zygote. Then it goes through cell division, which is the 2-cell stage, and then it's going to keep going, and then it's going to keep until it forms the blastula. Basically what happens in the blastula is it's going to cave in, and it's going to essentially create like an opening, and that's what the gastrula is. So if you see in that photo how it's kind of going up, it's going to go all the way up until it creates basically like a bead. So yeah. So these are the general categories. We're not going to go into like super details about them, but you're going to know about all of them before we finish the unit. So hopefully you remember this as a phylogenetic tree. We talked about this in Unit 7 during evolution, which seems like 50 years ago, but that's okay. We're going to keep on going. Okay, so now we're talking about symmetry. So it's a similarity, or basically a balance of an organism, so usually in body structure. So asymmetry just means it's kind of like all over the place. It's not necessarily like organized. It's just a mess. There's not a really, it's not going to be a direct reflection of the other side. Radial symmetry means that it's going to come out of a central region. So it starts at one point and then everything's just going to start like spearing out of it almost. I feel like if you can see my hand gestures, that would make more sense, but it's fine. Then we have bilateral, which is, it's two-sided and they look similar. So if you look at yourself in the mirror, you have, and you just go straight down the middle, you'll have an eye on each side, one nostril on each side, an ear, etc. Okay, now we are going to talk about cephalization, and that cephalization is a little weird, but it makes sense if you go, like once you go into anatomy or like zoology, you'll get a better idea of it, but we're literally just going to learn about what the word is. So what this means, the textbook definition is the tendency to concentrate nervous tissue and sensory organs at the anterior end of the animal. Basically, it means that your nervous tissue, so like brain, neurons, all of that, it's going to be on one end of the body. So you have a head that's located at the top of your body. Some organisms have it towards the back, like near the anus, but cephalization just means that all of your nerve tissues are in one end of the body. It's not in the center. Okay, now we have the protostomes, and basically how we were talking about the gastrula and how the blastula kind of starts forming into itself and creates that opening. It's a protostome if the mouth is what's going to develop first. So as it was curving up, that's going to create the mouth. Then there's deuterostomes, and that means that instead of the mouth forming, the anus is forming, so the rear, the butt, where the waste comes out of. Most organisms, believe it or not, are deuterostomes. So one of our most redeeming qualities, I feel. Okay, then we have segmentation, and this means animals can be put together from like similar parts. So basically how we have our head, we have our chest, we have our abdomen, you have like your different appendages. That's what segmentation means, and it just means you have different parts that come together. So you can have damage to your leg and you're going to survive. You can have damage to your abdomen, still going to survive. This makes movement a lot more efficient, a lot more effective, and it helps with survival rates. So yeah, that's it for this video. Thanks for staying along, and talk to you later. Bye!